Hello, everybody, and welcome for another career and spirituality conversation. So, if it's your first time listening in, I'm Julie Pone, your host, and I support spiritual seekers having a career experience to reconcile what they do for a living with who they are as a soul. And to help me out today with these ideas and this mission, I'm super excited to talk with Roy Vella. Hi, Roy. How are you today?
Hey, Julie.
Yeah. And before we start, we're just going to do, as usual, 1, 2 minutes grounding, just breathing, taking a few deep breaths together, and then we'll launch into the conversation. So, for everyone listening, take a deep breath, close your eyes. If you want to give yourself a little stretch, I like to do that too. And then for just a second, let's just notice our bodies and notice the weight of our bodies where we are, where we're sitting or where we are standing. And then bringing our attention, our focus into the area of our chest and our heart. Connecting with our heart, imagining as if our breath is flowing in and out directly through the heart. And there, for about a minute, let's just take some breaths that are a little bit deeper and slower than usual. Okay, and maybe one more cycle of deep breath. Maybe slowly bringing ourselves back and opening our eyes, and ta-da, welcome back.
Hey.
So Roy, thank you so much for joining me. I'm honored, and we've met recently. I'm slightly intimidated after after browsing through your LinkedIn, and I'm like, oh my God.
Not at
And
all. Not at all.
no, and so yeah, so in the little form that I sent to my speaker, and I asked, how do you want to be introduced? You very simply said, okay, Roy Vella, CEO of Next Colab. So welcome as the CEO of Next Colab. But
Thank you.
since if I had to introduce you more, I wouldn't even know where to start. So I was thinking, I was
Yeah,
thinking if you were to talk about yourself and let's say describe yourself, say, oh, I'm Roy and I am with 3 adjectives.
sure.
What
Sure.
would what would you say?
Three objectives. I mean, I'm sort of eternally curious, right?
Yeah,
My wife likes to joke around that
yeah,
I'm an inch deep but a mile wide in all of science.
yeah,
And she's not. So I often say that I'm a deep tech geek. I just
yeah,
love the convergence of
yeah,
science, technology, and humanity,
yeah,
and I find people fascinating. Um, on LinkedIn, when people reach out to me that I don't know,
mhm,
I always say the same thing. I'm like, I'm happy to connect, but let's have a quick chat.
yeah,
And part of that is because, I mean, you can't help someone unless you have a chat with them, right?
yeah,
Like for me to say 2 weeks from now, hey, you should talk to Julie, is because we have an interaction. So that's for sure. But it's also because I firmly believe I have something to learn from everyone, right? Like I just haven't been in your boots. It's as simple as that. You know, like you've lived a different life. I'll often end up on a call with a high school student or a college student, and they always start off saying, "Oh, thank you so much for making the time." And I'm like, youth alone is a lens I no longer enjoy. Right? Like they were born into a world with full mobile internet.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a different world than the world I was born into, right? Like they just have a lens and a view that's just not mine. And I do feel, you know, I would say quite strongly that if I don't learn on a call, that's on me. I didn't ask the right questions and I wasn't curious. I mean, what's funny to me,
Mhm.
I'll often end a call, or we're getting to the end of the call. We're like, coming up on the time, and the person goes, what the, I don't know anything about you. Like what just happened? Like, and I was like, well, I'll just keep asking questions,
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
because it's curious, it's fascinating. People just have
Yeah.
different, views of the worum, so I guess, yeah, I mean, objectives, curiosity. I'm
Yeah.
always eager and keen
Yeah.
to learn more. You know, I would say my children and my family, my wife, my all of that is a huge objective to
Mhm.
um to I tell people that the currency of parenthood
Yeah.
is attention,
Yeah.
is presence, and that it's very binary.
Mhm.
I try to make an effort to tell young parents in particular, you get a decade to a dozen years with your kids. What do I mean? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Mhm.
the first year, cute blob.
Yeah.
2, 3, you start to have a relationship. If you're lucky, by the time their age ends in teen, they still think you're pretty cool and want to spend time with you. And I mean, in the current day and age, that's a small window. That's 10, 15% of your life, right? If you don't get hit by a bus.
Right.
Right?
Hopefully.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I tell people it's very binary. When a 5-year-old runs in to show you what they drew,
Mhm.
you either give them full attention or not. Like if you glance at your computer at all, you scored a 0 on that interaction, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's over quick. It's over quick. And so presence, attention, all of that is important,
Yeah.
and particularly in those relationships with young people under 13, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then, I mean, I'd say on the work front, I think, again, life is short. You
Yeah.
should be enjoying what you're doing, right? And I often try to warn people that I work with. I'm like, beware what you enjoy in front of me, because
Yeah.
I'm going to give you more of that. And the stuff I see you suffering with, I'm going to give it to him because he loves it. Like you should be, it
Yeah.
should be hard to sleep because your mind is going and you're eager and you want to solve the problem and you want to make the thing. Like that's what it should be. Like I'm like, if you're suffering, if you don't want to go to work or whatever, do something else. Like
Yeah.
life is too short.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My phrase for that is a quote. I should figure out who originally said it, but for me, the journey is the reward. There's no
Yes.
pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like you should be enjoying the rainbow.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know?
Preferably. Yeah. 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 I love
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And now, and with that, I realized that you understood that I asked three objectives, right?
yeah,
Yeah. And like
yeah,
you were talking about my French earlier.
yeah,
I meant
yeah.
adjectives.
Adjectives, not objectives. Oh, well, that's why I was challenged to. Okay, so and I sort of
But
went there. So curiosity is one for sure.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Uh, but
curiosity for sure. I would say extroverted. I'm way
okay. Yeah,
extroverted. I'm
yeah.
on the end of the scale for that. 3 adjectives: curious, extroverted, and enthusiastic, probably. I
Wow.
have
Okay.
I have
Yeah.
plenty of Plenty
enthusiasm.
of energy to spare.
That's right,
Yeah.
because I got, I was saying, Saka, what, I've met you literally 15 minutes, maybe no, twice 15 minutes, maybe half an hour, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, what, like, trying to feel into the adjective that would come to me about you. And I got curious, grounded, and generous. And you told,
Okay.
yes, so
Sure.
I
I
don't know.
appreciate those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you say generous because I often tell people that I might be the most selfish person they've met.
Wow.
And they go, that's not my experience. I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's because I realized very, very early on in life that giving is getting. Like I love, like every time I help,
Yes.
the reward is just dramatic, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I know it's a skewed way of looking at it, but I am doing it because it makes me feel good. Like I love like taking the LinkedIn inbounds and going to help someone do something or whatever, whatever it is, like that's super rewarding. It's probably the most rewarding thing I do is helping someone else.
I love it. Yeah.
So I consider it very selfish to a certain extent. Like I'm doing it in my own self-interest.
Yeah, yeah. You're
And yet,
selfishly generous.
well, and again, I
Or
just
generously selfish. I don't know. Yeah.
it's one of those
Yeah.
two, but I think that's sort of a thing in life that people may miss that
Yeah.
giving is getting,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like in
Yeah.
giving the what you receive back from the act of giving, the dopamine, the serotonin, everything that's happening,
Mm.
we are social creatures and helping each other is super rewarding. Like love it, can't get enough of it. And so that's why you would say generous and I would say selfish, but we're talking
But,
about the same thing.
yeah. But I love that you say that because it's like, because we're talking also about spirituality in here, and it's like this world is everything in polarity, but that everything is really the same side of the coin,
Yes.
material, spiritual. So, like, selfish is the other side of generous, but it's really all the same, or two polarities of the same.
Right.
So, I love
Right.
that. And also, which is going to be a segue into, like, starting to talk maybe about the spiritual stuff.
Mm,
When you said that you love talking, like even students or like, young people, because suddenly like they have a view that you don't have anymore, that you can't
right.
have. There's an image, like a meme that I like about this representation of the earth, and underneath you see like a big giant with the hand and the fingers popping out. And then it says, points at the finger and says, the universe pretending to be you. So like
Right.
so obviously like this one big thing that has different point of views, but it's really that we are all the one same thing learning about itself through many different angles.
Yeah.
So it made me think of that when you describe looking at other people's point of views. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the funny part is it is literally everyone, even my siblings, born in the same house, raised in the same place. Like you always end up on different paths. And my point is, you are unique. Like there's nobody. You have something to learn from everybody if you just ask the right questions and are curious. Like and that's what happens for me a lot. I ask really basic questions. How did that happen? Why did you make that decision? How'd you get there? Why do you live here? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
again, curiosity. Like you just like how did your path lead you to where you are?
Mhm.
You could talk about that for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of path, I because we have to organize the talking in some way.
A little bit, a
So
little
I
focus.
usually start with okay, let's start speaking about the spiritual. So what's like either what's your spiritual journey, or what it means to you, or what's your definition of it, or
Sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think we've entered an interesting time
Hmm.
in sort of uh, from the Enlightenment on. So I'm born and raised Catholic. So
Hmm.
my parents are still very, very Catholic. My dad goes to church every day. You
Ah,
know.
what? Oh,
Oh yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
every day. And but I'll say he was super curious when I was growing up. He went to a whole bunch of different different religions, different orientations, different and he sort of settled back into his Catholicism. But when I was a kid, I mean, we're going into the weeds now, but when I was a kid, my parents taught at a place called the School of Practical Philosophy. It's
Oh,
part of the Practical Philosophy Foundation, started in London, had a New York instance. I
yeah.
used to have to go to school on Saturday to this philosophy school. And if I had to summarize it, it was all about attention. We learned meditation, we learned calligraphy, we did judo, we did we would go on these retreats where we're painting a wall, and the
Yeah.
teacher's like, pay attention to where the brush touches the wall, and we're kids, we're like teenagers, like not even like young teenagers.
Yeah.
And of course we hated it. We don't want to go to school on Saturday. I go to school the rest of the week, But
Yeah.
it changed my life. Meditation
Yeah.
is a real thing about focused attention and about being present and doing and being in the moment that you're in and all this kind of stuff. And I would say, I mean, I went to the College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, so I was pretty Catholic at the time.
Yeah.
Now I'm not. I'm atheist now, and I'm not bashful about saying that. I'm just like, as I grew and evolved and understood the world, I don't particularly have a need for there to be this outside super force.
Yeah. Okay.
But spirituality is very real, right? And I think the secular world, as it's evolved, there's a huge group of people who understands that there's more to it than just this, right? That there's the intersubjective, the space between us is real, And you have that's my dog.
Yeah.
That little blue
Yeah.
is my pup. You're like, something moved, something black moved in the background.
I saw it too. It's the
She's jet black. Yeah,
yeah, the
that's
ghost of
Coco.
the Zoom ghost is
Yeah, there's a ghost, a black ghost. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, so in terms of spirituality, I do believe that there is an element, there's a substrate. In fact, just recently in the last week or so, there's been a bunch of articles about how you actually exude a light. When you die, it goes away. And we don't know what that, we literally don't know what that is, right? Like there's been a bunch of recent articles, about that we give off a light at the moment of death.
Yeah.
And hard to explain. And so that's the real point. It's like there's tons of stuff we just simply don't understand, and look, from a scientific, I'm very much a scientist, like over time, like when we didn't understand thunder and rivers, and we had gods for all that, and then we kind of honed in and like, okay, there's the one God for the stuff we really don't understand, which is death, and like where we come from, where we go to, what's our purpose, like we got that, and I, by the way, I am totally open and understanding of people who still want that, need that, believe that. Great, doesn't faze me either way. I do think spirituality for me is much more about this. It's sort of light is a good word, actually. That energy, that force between us. And also, I would tell people, for me, that indescribable thing when you meet someone new that you're like, you just click immediately. Like you're like, it's like we've known each other for forever, like this kind of thing. Like there's I guess I'm rambling, but my point is there's the dynamics that we still don't understand, for sure.
Yeah. There's something there.
There's something there.
Yeah. Yes.
And that there's a collective that we are. There's a great book. Byron Reese wrote a book called "We Are Agora," and the Agora was the town square in ancient Greece, right, where people met and did things together, and it's fast. So he basically is talking about sort of collective intelligence. He's like, in nature, there are animals that display intelligence even though no single entity has intelligence. So has much intelligence. So
Okay.
ants in a nest, bees in a hive, termites in a mound. A termite mound will be 20 degrees cooler inside than outside, but there's no architect. There's no little termite with a pad, like saying,
Yeah. And the
right?
thermometer, you know, like the thermostat.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And he calls it emergent intelligence. It's
Okay.
intelligence sort of writ large. And the point of the book, the reason it's called We Are Agora, is he's
Okay.
like, we're the same. We have emergent intelligence in groups that
Mhm.
we may not recognize it as such. There's a great experiment. I don't think it was in his book, but there was an experiment where they gave people remote control, like controllers for a flight simulator,
Okay.
right? So there's one airplane on a
Yeah.
big screen.
Yeah.
There's like 100 people in a room. Everyone has a controller.
Yeah.
What they average all of the inputs from everybody. Everyone's trying to land the plane,
Yeah.
but they're all doing it. 100 people can land the plane better than a professional pilot.
Are you kidding me?
Like what?
What?
Yeah. And that's
No
the thing.
way.
Like, I mean, really what that comes down to is the bell curve. Like we all know the bell curve,
Yeah.
the mean. There's
Yeah.
some people really bad on this side, but there's other people really bad on that side.
Yeah.
And guess what? When we take it all in, you put it and we collectively we're pretty good.
Wow. 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 Yeah. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a crash, to be honest.
Right. No, exactly.
Yeah.
This
Because
is what
see,
I'm
yeah.
saying. Like
Yeah.
it's like when you watch
Hmm.
uh, a street in Paris or New York, any big city street is a miracle of coordination. Like the number of cars, bikes, and pedestrians not
Yes.
running into each
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
is staggering. It's
Yes.
like, and yet we have this
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the people who run into other people are tourists.
Yeah.
Tourists they're not yet familiar with the flow,
Yeah.
and so they go the wrong way, they do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
people,
Yeah.
citizens of a city,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah. It's like schools of fish and flocks of birds and yeah. Yeah,
Completely.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, actually, it's like that's going to be a bit of an aparty, but speaking of, because just you mentioned animals, because I spotted something on your CV that's somewhere on your like on your incredibly rich and long LinkedIn. At the bottom, there is something that was very intriguing.
Okay.
It says adventure traveler, 50 countries plus one grizzly. Can you expand on that?
Is that on
What?
LinkedIn? The stuff. Yeah. So my brother and I were
Yeah.
in Denali, in Alaska.
Okay.
The Denali Park
Yeah.
is Massachusetts. It's the size
Yeah.
of Massachusetts
Mhm.
with one road that runs through the center of it horizontally.
Okay.
And so it's kind of so when you go into Denali, they make you watch a safety video about
Yeah.
grizzlies.
Okay.
And in the video, the grizzlies like digging. They say grizzlies love ground squirrels, but
Okay.
ground squirrels are smart. They have a front entrance and a back entrance to their burrow. The grizzlies are also smart, and you see the grizzly digging, and he keeps looking over at the back entrance, digging, looking, digging, looking.
Yeah.
My brother and I are like, okay, if a ground squirrel takes off from that other exit,
Yeah.
grizzly's not going to catch it. Right then, the squirrel takes off. This
Yeah.
900-pound bear just grabs it and eats it. And we were like, "Oh my god!" Like it's like an Olympic athlete being in like a fat suit. Like underneath all of that bulk
Yeah.
is a really really fit. Yeah. So we were like, "Okay, so running around a tree is not going to work." So
Oh
what do you
God.
do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're supposed to wear a bell. We had bear bells,
Mhm.
and you're supposed to stink, and make
Yeah.
noise, be loud,
Yeah.
like, and the bear will go away. They survive by avoiding the new
Yeah.
and the unknown, right? We just happened to come up a hill where the wind was in our face, and right down the hill was a grizzly bear. Beautiful, like
Yeah.
completely golden. It was like it was totally blonded out.
Yeah.
And it was eating berries. And I start to take off my backpack to get my camera out. And my brother's like, did you watch the video? Like the first thing they say in the video is, don't take your backpack off. It's protecting your spinal cord and you need that. Right?
I
And they
did
also
tell
tell
them.
you, make your fingers into a mesh and cover your neck, because this is a bone net mesh that will protect your neck. If a grizzly attacks you, it's going for your neck. Okay. This is the thing. So my brother's like, don't take your pack off. I'm like, right, right. And as soon as we had that conversation, the grizzly looked up at us and then he stood up.
Oh my God.
I thought he was standing up. No, no, he was sitting and eating berries off this bush.
No.
He stood up and put his nose up as high as, because he couldn't smell us because the wind was over his back to us.
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, we're like, okay, that's a big bear. He starts coming up the hill. So the next thing they say is turn sideways, show your pack to look big, put your arms up, yell at them, and look as big and scary as you can. And then the last thing, which for my opinion was the vital thing, take rocks, don't throw it at the bear, throw it around the bear, because Denali is covered in vegetation everywhere. So the rocks go through the leaves and go, they make these really loud sounds. So we started doing that, and the bear started like looking side to side because he's hearing these other noises.
Yeah,
He came about halfway up,
okay.
and then he sort of stopped, and then he went off. And I mean, it was a magical, beautiful moment. But a little terrifying. You know, you're there with your brother thinking, am I faster than you, or are you faster than?
The famous expression, you don't need to run faster than the bear, you just need to run faster than the next person, right?
Exactly. And then what do I say to our parents? Yeah, I kind of outran him.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
Wow. Wow. Oh, incredible. Yeah. So adventure is one of your
Yeah, I love
values, and
exploring. I mean, at one point, I put on a backpack and I went around the world. I went all the way around. I left LA and I came back through New York. And without really a plan or an agenda, I was at the time I was going to buy one of those round the world tickets, but the problem with them is the sort of rule is you always have to go in one direction, either east to west or west to east. You can't jog back. Like you happen to be here, you can't go backwards. And so I was like, you know what? Forget that. I just bought local flights, like, Air Garuda and like local airlines. Anywhere that I didn't want to swim, I took a short flight. Right? Like, so, I went into Australia at the bottom and I left Australia from the top. And I didn't really have a plan in Australia, like this kind of thing. And so it was awesome. I went all the way around once, and it's funny, people say to me, so you traveled by yourself? And I'm like, not really, because we are a community, and you go, and at that age I'm staying in a youth hostel or local hotel for for teenagers and young adults. And I would say in the 9 months of travel, I was alone maybe 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Not consecutive. Like, when I flew from Darwin to Bali, I was alone on the flight. But then even then, you meet people on the flight and you leave together. Like you're in a constant state of meeting new people and going on adventures with them and doing. I mean, it was a phenomenal time. I had a great, and exploring, and I always made a point of learning. So I would land in a new place, I would learn, excuse me, thank you, please, where is and how much, in the local language, right? So you could learn Bahasa Indonesia, but if you learn Balinese, the local Balinese people, when you say thank you in Balinese, they go, ooh, yeah. And of course you don't know much beyond that, but it's enough to get people to smile and be impressed and then have a conversation and the connection. Exactly.
So were you young? Was it at the start, at the start of your career? Or?
24, 20, 19, 19, yeah, 20. I was about 24, 25.
Yeah.
So the funny part, I wanted to go to business school,
Okay.
and I'm like, if I get in, this was in like January, and business school would start in sort of August, September.
Mhm.
I'm like, if I get in, I'm gonna travel.
Yeah.
If I don't get in, I'm gonna travel. So literally, I dropped my application in the post office
Yeah.
box, and
And
I
then,
took off.
yeah.
I found out that I had to come back on a payphone in
Mhm.
Sydney.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, this is back in the day, right? This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
when
No Zoom.
nobody
No.
knew
Yeah.
where I was. Like, I mean, literally, and I called my parents, and my dad's like, "Yeah, you got in. You got to come back." And
Yeah.
yeah. In fact, so talking about the collective, one
Yeah.
of the things I learned during this trip, which still works today, although I'm sure nobody uses it, but do you know that I can put, Roy Vella, Sydney, Australia,
Uh-huh.
and mail that, and I can get it. Like,
No.
yeah, yeah. So there is a global postal system. Every major city, not minor towns, but major cities have
Yeah.
what they call a central post office.
Uh-huh.
A central post office. It's like writing to Santa Claus. Santa Claus, North Pole. Like, you can
Yeah.
just put my name,
Yeah.
Budapest, and then you go to the central post office. You say, "Hey, I'm Roy Vella. Here's my passport," and they say, "Oh yeah, we have your mail."
No way.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
incredible. I didn't know that. Wow.
So people knew the only thing they really knew was when I was going to be on this
Yeah.
flight. Like,
Yeah.
I had I had certain flights. And so they're like, well, by this time he's going to be in Bangkok.
Mhm.
And I would find the central post office in Bangkok. I'd show up. I say, "Hey, I'm Roy." And they're like, "Here's your mail." Like, yeah,
It's
crazy. And
great.
that works. That still works. That's an existing, I mean, now with cell phones and everything
Yeah.
else, you would
It's
never do
less
it.
needed. Yeah. Less. Yeah.
But it was magic. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm getting mail. And I
Like,
stand like, what's going
yeah, Vella already having an office in every country.
So, but again, this
Yeah.
collective thing, humans, we work together, we collaborate. We're like, that's good for everybody. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Like, if I get a name and a city, okay, and they hold it for a period, like they,
Okay. Yeah.
and I think it's different in different cities, but most of the time they hold it for like a year. They like
Oh,
they just keep they
yeah.
just keep it in a pile, and people show
Incredible.
up, and I'm sure there are letters that I missed, like it came after I arrived or whatever, but yeah, it's a crazy system.
Wow.
It works.
And so then you came back. When you got the call, you came back. And so is that when you like did you settle into like a path, or what's how does how did your
No,
career sort of kind of
yeah, I've never had. I'm not a good path person.
not
I'm
the path,
never.
no.
Yeah, I'm not.
So
I
you were
went.
an adventurer in your career as well.
So I went to business school, and that's supposed to be a 2-year program.
Yeah.
During the first year, another classmate and I became friends and started to egg each other on about law school. A bunch of people had told both of us, "Oh, you'd be a good lawyer," blah blah blah,
Yeah.
which they really meant was a litigator. Like, you're standing up in front of people and making arguments and logic. Like, you should be a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in retrospect, it's hard to explain, but at the time, we just sort of egged each other on. We took the LSAT, and LSAT is the
Mhm.
test to go to law school. During first year of business school, February of business school's first year, he and I took the LSAT,
Yeah.
and then we applied to law school, and I got in.
Mhm.
And I was like, so if you're a law student, you're in a 3-year program. If you want to get an MBA, you're adding one more year. If
Mhm.
you're a business school student, you're on a 2-year program, and you want to get a law degree, now you're doubling down. I mean, it shouldn't be different, but it's different. You're going from 2 years to 4 years instead of 3 years to 4 years, right? And I decided, yeah, you know what? And by the way, I in my application I wrote I have no interest in being an attorney. So people don't really realize. Most people don't realize the distinction. A lawyer attends
Yeah.
law school.
Okay.
An attorney passes the bar in a particular state, right? And
Mhm.
so you can be a lawyer. I mean, I am a lawyer, But an attorney, you pass the bar in New York, or you pass the bar in Massachusetts, and some states are reciprocal. If you pass the bar in New York, they let you practice in California, blah, 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 this kind of, and some states, you don't have to go to law school to be an attorney. You pass the bar, now you're an attorney and you're not a lawyer, ironically. Yeah. Anyway, I wrote in my application, I have no interest in practicing law. There are 3 reasons I want to go to law school. 1, entrepreneurship, which is a ton of contracts and negotiation and all of that stuff. 2, international business. As soon as you cross a border, now you're in a regulatory environment and there's just a ton of law around that whole exchange of cross-border business.
Yeah.
And 3 for me was alternative dispute resolution. So everything but litigation. So mediation, arbitration, negotiation. There's all these other shuns that aren't going to court.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wrote in my application. I find law fascinating because law fundamentally is how we agree not to beat each other up. Like it's our system of resolving fights without fighting.
Yeah,
even on an international level. I mean, you know, international law is about not having war.
You know? Oh yeah. Right? How's that working for?
Not so effective. Yeah. But I'll tell you, I got it. Again, I'll go down rabbit holes if you let me. I took a class in undergrad. It was called Person, Time, and Culture. It was a fascinating class. It was, and there's one class that I'll never forget. The professor said, "You're born with no sense of other." So a 1-year-old will smack itself in the face and go, "What was that? Who hit me?" You know, like, and then all of a sudden one day you have an epiphany. You're like, "Oh, me, you, like, we're different. We're separate." And that graduates very quickly into us and them. And he said, and the rest of your life is spent making that distinction. He said the groups of humans who have the fiercest rivalries are the ones that are indistinguishable to an outsider. He said, it's the 2 towns in the middle of Indiana where the high school football team is everything. And he said, most of the time it devolves into color. We do flags and reds and blues and whatever. And then, and this is why I'll never forget it, he went around the world. He's like, any hot spots in the world are about identity. It's Hutus versus Tutsis. It's Israelis versus Palestinians. It's Pakistanis versus Indians. It's North Korea, South Korea, Ireland. Like, every hot spot, if you're an outsider, you speak the same language, you eat the same food, you have the same culture. Like you guys look exactly the same to me as an outsider, but it's inside. And I was like, that's
interesting.
Isn't that interesting? I was like, all of the hotspots, all of the conflict zones on our planet are between groups that pretty much the same. And Democrats and Republicans in the United States. Like, I mean, we're pretty much the same. I tell Americans, you take Democrats and Republicans and you dump them into a European parliament anywhere, side by side, dead in the middle. Because there are fascists and communists in parliament. Like, we have the full spectrum in Europe. And, you know, in the States, we disagree about a handful of things, but we make everything about those handful of things. We largely agree on everything else.
Yeah, so it's like how you know, how big is the lens?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it was fascinating. I'm like, right, it's about identity. It's about the us versus them argument is kind of like, you know,
so
about me.
How has that shaped your approach to the rest of your career, or your business endeavors, or how you function in?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, I tend to appreciate the commonality more than the difference. Right? So I always, in fact, traveling around, you look for the common ground more than you look for the differences between you, right? And it's I also think it's a bit of an affliction of the modern age. So I worked in Cameroon, in Boya in Cameroon. I taught at a vocational school. A lot of Africa Well, let me do the other side. So in the first world,
Yeah.
you see yourself all the time. You walk down a city street, there's reflections of you everywhere, in glass, in cars, in shiny metal. Like in Boya, even if there was glass, it was kind of dirty. Like
Yeah.
you just don't see yourself very
Yeah.
much, right? And and two things happened that were very strange to me. One, I was walking to school one day and my hand sort of swung into my peripheral vision. And I'll never forget this. I stopped and I was like, I am so white. Like I am like almost see-through. Because by the way, in Cameroon,
Yeah.
they're not brown. Like they're black. They are very, very dark skinned. And I was the exact opposite. And I just, but all my friends were not white. Like in fact, I didn't know anyone else white in my area.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I am just so white. like this is, and again, you don't walk around and see yourself. Like you would go the whole day without seeing a reflection of yourself
So
somewhere.
you'd forgotten, and
I
suddenly,
kind of
oh,
forgot.
yeah,
100%. And then
yeah,
the second thing that happened, I went to a football game,
yeah,
a soccer game, a football game with my friends.
yeah,
There was a white guy across the stadium on the
yeah.
other side, and he and I waved at each other. And literally, I never met him. Afterwards, I'm like looking around, where'd that white guy go? Like,
Yeah,
never saw.
yeah,
But it opened my eyes to what being a minority is. Like if you're the only other woman in a room or the only other black person in a room
yeah,
or the only other, like you naturally have an affiliation. You're like, hey, I see
yeah,
you, white guy over there. Like,
yeah.
and as a white cis male, blah blah blah, I had never experienced that. But in Cameroon, I was like, huh,
Oh,
this is
oh,
interesting. Like this is a different way of looking at the world, where you're the exception, not the rule.
yeah.
And that's an eye opener. I was like, huh, this is really and again about reflectivity, right?
Mhm.
I think first world people have a different sense of identity simply because you see yourself. Even Zoom, like seeing yourself
Yeah,
on Zoom
yeah,
has an effect, right? Like there's a again coming down to sort of identity, like how you identify and
mm,
how you define yourself, and even personal space. In Cameroon, I had other men hold my hand.
yeah.
They were not gay, they were just friends. And as soon as they felt like we were close friends, we'd say hello, they'd grab my hand and hold on to it. And I
Wow.
was like, what's going on here? Like, it wasn't in my culture,
Yeah,
that wasn't a thing.
yeah,
But in theirs, they were like, I'm showing you that I trust you, I value you, we're close friends. Or even like sitting, like in the American standard, two men wouldn't sit with their legs touching. They'd sit a little
yeah,
bit apart, maybe even facing each other.
yeah,
There, I would end up sitting like it's not like there's not room. There's plenty of room,
yeah,
but the personal space
yeah,
was totally
yeah,
different. And
yeah.
again, I had to adjust. I'm like, okay, interesting. This is just a different. I can't say that either's wrong or right. It's just a different cultural milieu, right? Like it's yeah.
Again, a
Anyway,
different point of view, like we said
different point
at
of
the
view.
beginning. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I could also see like someone from Cameroon coming here
yeah,
and being like, everyone hates me. No one holds my hand. No one sits next to me. No, like, right? Like, you could see the opposite being like this is such an inhospitable place
it
because in
shifts
their
your perception. Yeah, 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 makes total sense. Yeah,
right,
yeah,
really interesting. It was an eye opener. I was like, this is really,
yeah.
really
But like it's like like even like people people from I guess the US or even Ireland, because I live in Ireland and I'm French, obviously. Like coming to France and then everyone like kissing, all the kisses over all the time everywhere. Like
lots of kisses.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You
But
do that
when
to
I
the Irish, and they're like, "What are you doing? Like,
yeah,
why is your face coming so close to mine?
yeah, exactly. When I arrived in Ireland, the amount of time that I scared people, it's like what?
Why are you coming in? What's happening?" Yeah.
What's happening here? Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, even that's a great example. Like
yeah.
Italian Greek proximity is very different from British Irish
Mm,
proximity. Like personal space and bubble, totally
mm,
different.
But
And
yeah,
that's
so which is
within Europe.
yeah, which is weird because they hug. We don't hug necessarily. Like we kiss, like like la bise.
Right, but not a lot of,
But
yes.
yeah, and like it's like, and I find that so much more intimate that I love now, but I found it like so a bit weird at the start. And now I'm like, what do you mean? It's just two kisses on the cheek, no big deal. You hug everyone,
Yeah, we don't even use the lips. We sort of just throw it over there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But I mean,
wow.
that's the fascinating thing for me is that the human diversity and culture and how we interact and how we touch and how we
Yeah.
speak and the holding hands thing. I had never really noticed
The
that,
what?
but you holding hands,
Oh yeah,
you're
yeah, holding
like
hands. Yeah,
holding hands
yeah,
with someone. The
yeah.
first time in Cameroon where like I was working with a guy, a friend, a
Mhm.
colleague, and he grabbed
Yeah,
my hand as we're walking, and
yeah,
I was like, what are we doing?
wow. Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
I'm enough of a traveler that I'm like, okay, we're just gonna go with this, see what happens.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
fascinating. But so since we're on the topic of your like travels and stuff, I mean,
Mhm.
there's so much to talk about. I don't like, yeah, it's like we're gonna need a part two. But I spotted like I know you're the CEO of this cool company and I want to know about, but
Sure.
I've also spotted this thing, Planet. How is it
Positive.
called?
Planet positive.
Yes. Yeah. Can
Yes.
you tell us a little bit about that? Because it sounds like very inspired as well from what we just talked about.
Sure, sure. So I am. Planet Positive was started by a woman in London and a guy in Southern California,
Yeah.
and it was what it says on the tin: make the planet more positive. It was kind of focused on environmental
Yeah.
mostly, but not totally.
Yeah.
It was a variety of things, and it was sort of it kind of blossomed during the pandemic,
Yeah.
where people are coming in from all over South America and Sydney and all over the place and in a Zoom call
Yeah.
and trying to help. It was mostly investment, I would say. Like the woman in London, Joe Sawicki, she's more into family wealth, family offices and sovereign wealth and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But it was really connecting the dots. People would come in and say, "I'm looking for an introduction to this company," or I'm raising money for this effort or whatever, and everyone would try and contribute and say, I can make an introduction to that, or I can help you with this, or and yeah, I'd call it a loose collective.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the guy in Southern California, Peter, he was probably the healthiest of us
Yeah.
because he was surfing every day. He had a heart attack and died. Like,
Oh.
just yeah. And the group shook for a bit, and we also realized like we don't have access to the website and blah blah blah. Like he had passwords
Oh.
and things like yeah. And so Joe has kept it running.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
little bit backburner now. She's had other things going on, but we're again just
Yeah.
trying to help people get there, and a lot of fascinating deep science happening. Right there's uh, I tell people AI, when people say AI now, they mean LLMs, large language models, because
Okay.
having a machine that speaks English or like or language at all is like, wow. But AI in science
Mm-hmm.
is just changing everything. Like the amount of change in the next 5 years due to sort of core science,
Yeah.
nobody's ready for.
Okay.
It's just going to change everything. I mean, if you look at my LinkedIn in terms of the posts,
Yeah.
at least half is science because it's just crazy what's happening. Like, because what is science? Science is hypothesis,
Yeah.
iterate, and that's what these models are able to do at scale.
Yeah, at speed, at scale, yeah. Wow.
It's shocking. You heard of AlphaFold,
No.
AlphaGo, and so okay. So there's a company called DeepMind in the
Okay.
UK
Yeah.
that Google was like, love what you're doing. Google bought them. They
Uh-huh.
became Google DeepMind. The first thing they did was called AlphaGo,
That's a
playing
go.
the game Go.
Okay.
And
Oh,
Go is an ancient game, thousands of years old.
super, like, yeah, super intricate, complicated, and stuff. Like, yeah.
It's actually so my son and I actually taught ourselves Go this past summer,
Yeah.
and it's not that complicated. That's the magic of Go.
Yeah.
It's a combination of sort of risk and chess. Like, but there aren't any. The moves are all the same. Like
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's just the way Go is structured that it is a very complex game. And we thought like, okay, computers might beat us at chess, but it'll never beat us at Go. And AlphaGo, the first model they trained by showing it human games. And
I've seen a documentary. I wonder, was it AlphaGo against like the best Go
Lee Sedol again. So that documentary is
Yeah.
free on YouTube right now. You can go
Yeah.
watch. It's an hour-and-a-half documentary. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those games with Lee,
Yeah.
that model they trained by giving it the rules of Go.
Yeah.
And they're like, just here's the rules, play.
Yeah.
It played more Go than all of humanity has ever played. And there were two in that documentary. There are two moves: move 38 and move 77, or no, move 37 and move 78. That were just not human moves. Like the you know, there's always professional games. There's commentators are like, oh, that's like the Russian in 72. You know, like, and everyone was like, those moves. And Lee Sedol, the top Go player on the planet, professional player, this is what he has done with his life, said that his understanding of the game had changed as a result of those games. So okay, and this is background. The next thing they did is called AlphaFold. Protein folding. There's 20 amino acids. How amino acids fold is what makes up proteins, right? We humans had folded about 100,000 proteins, and we were pretty proud of ourselves. Like, that's a lot of proteins. Like, we're doing great. We gave the 20 amino acids to AlphaFold. We explained how they interact. We hit enter. 2 weeks later, AlphaFold produced 200 million proteins. We went from 100,000 to not 2 million, 200 million proteins. Wow. Like, they won the Nobel Prize for it. And the scientists involved said it didn't fold all the known proteins. It folded all the possible proteins. It may have created proteins that don't exist in nature. We don't know. We haven't seen all the proteins.
Like, I can't even, you know, I'm finding it even hard to fathom what does that mean, and what does that mean for, like.
Well, so now their next model is called AlphaFold. Now they're doing, I'm sorry, Alpha Proteo. So AlphaGo, AlphaFold, Alpha Proteo is how those proteins interact, which is frankly what we call life. like it's
so
crazy.
We're potentially creating
new organisms, new, like, and by the way, when you say it's hard to fathom, I love to tell people the reason is very simple. We collectively, all humanity, suck at scale. And I can prove it very quickly.
Yeah.
A million, a billion, a trillion in seconds. Okay? A million seconds?
Oh, yeah.
A million seconds is 12 days, almost 2 weeks.
Okay.
A billion seconds, 32 years. Less than 2 weeks, 32 years. And then a trillion seconds is 32,000 years, right? So you go from less than 2 weeks to 6 times written history. And most people have your reaction. They're like, what? Wait, hold on a minute. And it's because of English, or we think million, billion, trillion feels like a line. No. Times 1,000?
Yeah.
You know, and we are living in an exponential age, for sure. Like, the defining curve of humanity is exponential. You can look at population, you can look at urbanization, you can look at economics. Like, pick a dynamic of humanity, we're on exponential curves. You know, LLMs are cute. Like, the science that is happening right now is just unprecedented. Like, in everything. Friggin' biology, sure, but biochemistry, astrophysics, geology, like, you pick an area of science.
Incredible.
It's incredible what's happening now. Like, it's just nuts what's happening.
So, because I'm also aware of time, because now
we're running out of time.
Now what I know for sure is, like, well, I knew that already, is like your AI is one of your is pet peeve good word? I don't know.
No, that's my focus at the moment.
But we still don't know exactly what you're doing. Like, what is it exactly that Roy is doing?
Yeah, so it's convergence of two large trends. That many, if not most, meetings are happening in little windows on screens.
Yeah.
And LLMs, AI, the chatbots. So for the first time ever, we can mine the mountain of unstructured data that is meetings. right? So
Yes.
we are doing we have an analytics engine and a methodology based on, academic rigor and behavioral science that we are measuring meetings. We do a qualitative and a quantitative assessment of meetings. We call it
Okay.
our 4 E's: execution, efficiency, engagement, and
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of metrics underneath that roll up to what we call a Colab score.
Okay.
And it's simple in the sense that you get what you measure. If you can't measure it, you can't do anything
So
about it.
you're making so
Making
sorry.
meetings matter.
I was like, sorry for the joke. Is terrible. Yeah. You're making meetings great again, or something like that.
I mean, in the end,
Yeah.
it really comes down to
Yeah.
something that we share. Like, people are no good at feedback. We don't want to give
Okay.
feedback,
Yeah.
and we don't want to receive feedback.
Yeah.
Because why? Well, it's loaded with other stuff, like I'm your boss, or you're my boss, or we're peer. Like,
Yeah.
there's all this. And so what happens? We don't give it or get it. We just don't have any feedback. This is an objective third party sort of feedback mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
The metaphor I use is we are an MRI machine for
Yeah.
meetings. You get to look inside, see what's
Yeah.
working, see what's not working, and do something about it. And we don't do reports. It's very much a dashboard. You look
Yeah.
at it, you get it.
Yeah.
There's a Colab score. The second main metric is a cost meter. We all know that time is money, but when you see it on the screen, you start to go, are we done? I think we're done. Can we wrap this up?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, you get what you measure. You don't measure it, nothing.
Yeah.
And so we call the atomic unit is called pulse meeting intelligence. And that's for analyzing a particular meeting. There's an individual board called Signal, and I might look at my Signal and go, I shouldn't have morning meetings. My afternoon meetings are always 20 points higher than my morning meetings.
Yeah.
And then up from Pulse is collective intelligence. So a team, a group, the whole company, a team might look at their score and say, Mondays we're always in the 60s and 70s. The rest of the week we're in the 80s and 90s. Do we need the Monday meeting?
Okay.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and then and all of that is half. The other half is the content itself.
Okay.
Right? So someone makes a brilliant strategic insight in a meeting, doesn't really go anywhere, doesn't really apply to that meeting in particular. But 2 weeks later, the CEO says, has anyone brought up this topic? That person receives a notification. They'd like to associate that comment with you. Yes. Now the CEO's like, hey, we're putting a tiger team together on that. And what you said nailed it. You want to help us with that? Like, that would be, just information transparency up
Okay.
and
So
down.
it's making the connections that like the human might not be able to make between meetings spaced out from weeks ago, stuff like.
And it's
Gotcha.
both directions, right?
Yeah.
So the leadership team might be looking at an acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can say, what does our team think of their team? Every time that company comes up, it's positive and optimistic. We're impressed
Yeah.
or not, right?
Okay.
I
But
mean,
how does it measure like that? Like this. How does it measure that people are feeling better on a Monday than on a?
it
How?
yeah, because LLMs understand context and content.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
it's shockingly good. It's very impressive.
Okay.
And really comes down to that analytics engine, right? So we are making a series of prompts to find out like what happened in this meeting, and I would say that the qualitative is almost more important than the quantitative. So how much we speak is interesting, but what we said is even more interesting. Like for instance, an introvert might be in a meeting, they don't say very much, but when they open their mouth, the meeting turns in the direction that they point.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. Like, like, right? I mean, it's again, it's an MRI machine. And I also tell people we're not so interested in being the doctor. So there's plenty of management consultants and advisors and mentors and coaches who are helping teams be more productive.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's a diagnostic tool,
Gotcha.
an engine to look inside, see what works, see what doesn't work.
Okay. Yeah. So you're providing the tool to make the collective function even better, like a self-reflect.
Yeah, and I say if we do it as expected, there's going to be fewer meetings, shorter meetings, better meetings.
Yeah.
right? And you're going to look forward to your meetings. You're going to be like, our meetings, we get stuff done. We make decisions and we go, like we're, instead of, I mean, look, the reason we're doing this is I've yet to meet a person who goes, what are you talking about? Our meetings are great.
Yeah.
That's just, we're just not
Yeah.
so good at it,
Yeah. And Roy is like, you want to bet? Yeah.
I mean, look, I hope they exist, but in my experience, everyone I've ever met goes, yeah, I've been in a meeting where I am in my head going, why am I here? Can I please be excused? I have work to do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
need
yeah.
to be in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many more minutes do you have?
I can talk to the hour.
To the okay, perfect. Because
Yeah.
I spotted, like in your description of, so that's what you're describing is called Next Collab. And if people want to look at it,
Sure.
we'll
Yep.
put the website, etc.
Sure,
But
sure,
like,
sure.
that it says somewhere that like it is the intersection of like personal, like the personal development and
Yeah,
yeah,
professional collaboration. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And what I tell people is we're an intersubjective score. So Myers-Briggs or
okay,
all the personality profiling
yeah,
is me. Like how
yeah,
am I?
yeah.
This is a score of the in-between. It's how well do I collaborate with others, right? Like
Okay,
that's what it comes down to.
okay. Me in the relationship with the other. So I love when it goes full circle like that. What we were discussing at the start. So it's
Exactly.
interesting how like like your career, like what you're
Yeah,
like basically building now is like a sheer reflection of like your experiences and your
that's true.
from
Yeah, I hadn't
earlier
really.
in
Yeah,
life.
no, you're right.
Yeah,
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 no, exactly.
yeah,
And again, it's that it really does come down to feedback. Like I took a class in at business school. The technical name of the class is interpersonal dynamics, but the
okay,
students call it touchy feely. We call it touchy feely. Yeah, exactly. And touchy feely, I
yeah,
can it's 12 students
yeah,
and a moderator. You're
yeah.
not supposed to have any relationships. They call them T groups. You're not supposed to have any relationships in your T. No roommates, no girlfriends, no
Oh, okay,
close
get you, yeah.
friends. You're supposed to, you all know each other a bit because
Mhm,
it's not a huge class,
mhm.
but no close relationships.
Yeah,
And the structure of the class is very, very simple. When you do A, it affects me B,
yeah.
and I wish you would do C. So, and the reason that's the structure is I am staying on my side of the fence. I am not saying when you do A, I think you're a jerk, or I'm
Mhm.
not saying when you do A, I think you're stupid. I'm saying when you do A, here's how I'm experiencing it. Here's how it affects me, and here's what I would prefer.
Mhm.
And I mean, that is a gift like that you don't get, as I said, in real life, people don't like to give feedback and they don't know that structure of ABC, like when you do A, and so feedback is fraught with, we do an annual review and we think that that's a good
Yeah,
way to
yeah,
give
yeah.
feedback.
It seems to be
But
a like, yeah. Feedback
I,
equals criticism, at least. Yeah.
but I bring it up because that class changed my life.
Mhm.
That we talk about the spotlight. There's no structure. It's not like, okay, I know next week is my turn. Like that's not how it works. It
Okay.
just is it's a dynamic flow. Like we just start talking about things and all of a sudden it's your turn. And my turn came around and it was the introverts who all just piled on me. And because I'm like in the class, they map out our Myers-Briggs. Like I'm so far on the E that the professor was like, "Who's this?" And I was like, "That's me." Yeah. And the introverts, and they said, "Look, love your energy, but you don't leave any space for me. I'm thinking. I want to contribute, and you won't shut up. Like or I am contributing, and because you like what I'm saying so much, you interrupt me. Like and for an hour the introverts just gave me feedback. They're like, here's, you do A, here's how it's affecting me, I wish you would do, and changed my life, changed my, like literally, because of course I work for introverts, I have introverts who work for me, I have peers. Like I can't tell you how many rooms I've been in since that class where I'm sitting there going, shut up, shut up, shut up, in my head, Shut up. Don't say anything. Shut up. Yeah. Yeah. No. Quiet. Like, holding myself back. I am in a state of restraint
Mm-hmm.
because I know, or the opposite. I go, hey, Kevin, I love what you're saying. I get it. Bob, I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. Like drawing them into the conversation and shutting the extrovert down a little bit, like this kind of trying to rebalance dynamics, because I recognize that the introverts or knowing that the introvert didn't say anything in the meeting, but has been thinking about it hard the whole time. And this afternoon or tomorrow, I want to go follow up with them. Hey, I know you didn't get a chance in that meeting, but what are you thinking? Like, totally changed my world. I like a totally new worldview. I was like, what? No idea. I was so clueless about it.
Yeah. And now you're leveraging that understanding to streamline it automatically for everyone else on any meeting, right?
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we have this witness. I'll call it this third party who's just looking, no dog in the fight, not trying to get a promotion or not, it's just saying, here's what happened.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. It's not your AI companion who takes notes for you. Nothing like that. Just to be clear,
Yeah. Well, actually, we don't. So all of the ingredients
we
don't do. So we don't do transcripts. I'm assuming you're going to bring me a transcript. We don't do video calls. I'm assuming you have a video calling platform. We don't do LLMs. We're using off the shelf LLMs. I mean, all of that is just, I need all of that, but that's not what the engine is doing. The engine is taking those fuels and making, and so Zoom has the best transcripts because Zoom has separate audio channels for every participant. So the transcript is very clean, very tight. I'm talking and you say, aha, and someone says, okay, and someone says, yes. It knows exactly who said what when. Some of the others like, Otter or Fathom or Firefly,
that's good.
they're trying to guess. And they're often very good, but I may be talking and you may start talking and it just thinks that it's all me, which makes the signal one, my individual, harder to do. I'm starting to get a blended,
Well, that's fascinating. I love it. We're gonna send the information so for people who are interested. There is so much more that we don't have time to get into, especially around AI and that.
Sure, I'd love to talk about it another time.
AI and we can do that another time if you have more to.
In AI, I'll tell you, there is a secret that unlocks all the value. We'll do that next time.
Okay. It's not a secret that we can have in 2 minutes at the end of no.
Well, okay, in brief.
Yeah.
We are auto calibration machines. We see each other, we hear accent, we know background. We're constantly adjusting. If we weren't both fluent in English, this would be a different conversation. We would change our speed, our cadence, our vocabulary, our tone. We're always adjusting for who we're talking to. Automatically, we don't think about it. When I'm talking to a kid or an older person who has Alzheimer's, or we're constantly adjusting. The bots don't have that ability. They're blind, deaf, and dumb.
Yeah.
And so what do? They do the smart thing. They meet you at the mean. They treat you like you have an IQ of 100.
Yeah.
And they act like they have an IQ of 100.
Okay.
Not so impressive. But the magic of the moment is it can be anyone you want it to be. So I tell people on the 80-20 balance, spend 80% of your time on context. Tell it, born, raised, educated, worked. Here's what I'm doing at the moment. Here's who I need you to be. You can go to any of the bots and say, I have a PhD in particle astrophysics, and I'd like to discuss quantum mechanics. Oh, and you're Einstein. No problem. The bot can do that. We might not understand the conversation, but the bot can certainly do it, right? And so that's the magic unlock, is spending the time every time to tell the bot who you want it to be. Who you are and who you want it. And by the way, the reason no one does it it's deeply counterintuitive. I do not start our conversation saying, Julie, here's where I was born, raised, and here's who you are. Like,
Yeah.
we don't interact with intelligences that
Yeah.
way. But with
Yeah.
this intelligence, you need to, because what you do is you take the world of all possibilities and
Yeah.
you focus it in.
Okay.
In fact, it can be, your ICP, your ideal customer profile.
Yes.
So when you're in a company, like, here's my target market, you can say, you are these people. Here's my marketing plan. Now, what do you think?
Ah.
When you're a student in school and you're studying Abraham Lincoln,
Yeah.
I need you to be Abraham Lincoln for the following conversation. What do you eat? What are your biggest decisions? What was your hardest fight? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the magic of the moment is you are interacting with a bot who can literally be anyone you need it to be.
So
And
figure out
most
who you
people,
want to talk to.
who do you
And
want to talk to?
yeah.
And most people jump right in and they put a question in as if it's a search engine. And what do they get? An IQ of 100.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even the answer they get is at an IQ of 100.
Okay.
And it's just not. I mean, but it can. There's a great. I'll send it to you later. It's called a
Yeah.
brutally honest advisor. I
Okay.
have a prompt.
Yeah.
So most of the time when you interact with the bots, they're very sycophantic. They're like, "What a great question! You're so
I know.
smart." Like,
Yeah. I
this
know. I
this
know.
is a prompt that just takes off the gloves.
Yeah.
It is not trying to be nice. It is like, let me be brutally honest with you.
Yeah.
It's a different person. Like, when you put that prompt in and then you have an interaction, it's like, well, that is not good. Like, you really, I mean, it like lays it down really,
Actually, it's like mom. She's like, what's that?
yeah, it's just
Or dad. I don't know for whoever whoever
right. But again,
I'm talking
you
about.
can
Yeah.
have it
Yeah.
be
Yeah. Yeah.
anything you want it to be.
That's
You know,
super cool. Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 The prompting is important,
Oh yeah,
but like so just so that I don't get you to be late at your next meeting.
yeah. Sure.
Like what's one thing that I haven't asked or that we haven't discussed that you absolutely want to tell us?
That's so you just so that is my final question in every interview I've ever done.
Or is it?
So literally, I always end, especially like professional interviews or
Yeah,
school, and I interview for Stanford undergrads,
yeah,
and I say, what was the thing that you would hope that we have talked about but we didn't get to?
yeah.
Like, what that's I don't know. Our conversation was all over the place. Like,
I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sure.
That's very true. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would say we are live in beta. We have a working beta of our platform, and if anyone wants to play with it and try it out, I mean, you just need a transcript. You drop it in, and it gives you an analysis. Like, I'm happy to put people on the whitelist so they can always reach out and play with it. And the
cool.
quid pro quo is, I need feedback. Give me your feedback. Tell me what's working. Tell me what's not working.
Exciting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect. Okay, so I'll make sure that people have you tell me what to send, and
Sure.
I'll make sure that people know what to do if they want to try it out.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
no, I'm easy
Yeah,
to find. Like,
yeah.
just take out the space. I have a very unique name, Roy Vella.
Yes.
Anything gets to me at Gmail, at LinkedIn, or
Yeah,
whatever.
send him a letter, like, royvella at, in the big city, and he'll go and find it at the post office.
Exactly. Roy Vella, New York.
Yeah, exactly. Super cool.
100%.
Thank you so much, Roy. Thank you for spending some time with us. And
My pleasure.
yes, and I'll see you soon. And everyone else, thank you for listening. And I'll see you for our next conversation.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
everybody. Love you.
Bye. Cheers.
Ciao,
Thanks.
ciao.